I'm going to turn your computer speakers on. Is it a meeting? Jessica's meeting. Isn't that what that says?
Everybody, we're going to be starting in about 4 minutes. 4 minutes.
Mercury in retrograde is not what I want. Oops. It's just breathing.
Real quick, look at Caliber Realty's Facebook page, exclamation mark. It's hilarious, exclamation mark. My last post, period. Okay, what do you want from Uber Eats?
Okay. Depends on where you're ordering. Which place do you
Should we
want?
do, where did we have that good food the other day?
Michelle, can you hear me?
Oh, hello?
So, Michelle, you're not on mute. We can hear everything you're saying.
Sorry, anybody else want Uber Eats? Sorry.
I was saying, get me something. Anyway, it's been rated G so far.
You're right to catch me quick. Thank you.
$16 participants. Super excited. Are we ready to rock and roll?
Yes. Hey, Jessica, it's Paula.
Hi, Paula.
Hi, girl. So I'm going to get started, but I will be out.
Okay.
So I have a conflict today. So just so you know.
Okay. That's all right. If everybody's there, can just know that they can pipe up and say anything they need, then we're good to go.
I was thinking about having you on mute like we did last time and then have them click if they have questions, but what do you think?
Yeah, either way.
Okay.
Whatever we need to do is good to go.
All right.
Guys, I'm going to share my screen with everybody. so that you can see. If you want to still see, right now I can kind of see a few people, but just know I've got, if you guys want to say something, you got to pipe up. And everyone right now is on mute, or most people are on mute. So if you want to say something, typing into the chat doesn't work as well because I'm not watching the chat because I'm looking at my screen. So just got to unmute yourself and ask a question, ask away, and feel free to interact. And this makes the class better. It's always harder when we're doing a tech class because we, you never know if ever, you know, if anyone's listening or if everyone's keeping up. So please, you guys feel free to ask questions and interact. Anybody have any questions to begin? Does everyone know how to get to command and get logged in? Is that a yes from everybody? Okay, if anybody does not know how to do that, then let me know, but otherwise we're gonna get started. Okay, so if I can just ask you guys a quick question. Everybody hit unmute. How many of you guys have added in contacts? If you've added contacts into command, say yes.
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 Perfect. If you
No.
have not started your
Yes.
adding your contacts into command, say yes. If you have not.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a few of each. Okay, great. So you guys, just so you know, for today, we are not going to go through adding in contacts. We're not going to go in through that process. We are going to get us started because our office is transitioning out of .loop and into command for compliance. So, which is really going to be great. I think you're really going to like it. So what we're going to do today is set up the checklist and what we call stages and phases in command so that when you go in and you begin what we call an opportunity, think of it as an opportunity for a commission. When we begin an opportunity, you've got at least the basics. So if you start to use it, you're like, oh, this isn't even set up. I can't use this. I don't have to begin setting up and I'm in the middle of a transaction. So by the end of today, we should have some basic checklists and basic format that you can then begin to customize as you utilize the system. So if everyone thinks of this as, I have a checklist, when I get a lead, like let's say my cousin calls me up and says, hey, my former roommate from college is moving to Idaho Falls or Pocatello, and they need to buy a house. Can you help them? Here's their name and phone number. What's the first thing that you guys do? Somebody tell me, what's the first thing you do? You just got a name and a phone number.
Call them.
Call them. I love it. So you say, oh, I'm going to call them. So what if you don't get a hold of them? What do you do next?
Give up.
Nice, Jamie. Well done. Killing it in real estate. Hashtag. What do you do next?
What would you do?
Ooh, thanks for asking, Jamie. I would text them.
Okay.
And if then I don't get a hold of them, I would Facebook message them. And then if I don't get a hold of them, I would then call the gal who gave me the number and say, hey, I can't get a hold of them. So that right there is a checklist in command. I want to make sure I do all of these things until I get an appointment or I have a conversation. And then once I have a conversation, I said, okay, I've talked to them. Now what do I want to make sure I do as a result of talking to them? And now there's a new checklist. Well, now I've talked to them. I want to either nurture this or I'm going to get an appointment. And then what do I do? So today we're going to set up those checklists. So basically this is supposed to help us not let things fall through the cracks on leads all the way through closing anymore. Pretty exciting, huh?
That is great.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Okay, and by the end of this, you guys, I'm gonna give you my idea of the basic checklist, but you can put whatever you want in this. Now, also, what's exciting is we'll start with this basic framework, and as you work a deal or what we call an opportunity through the system, you'll find you'll want to take certain things out, and maybe we miss something. You put something, you're like, oh, you know what? I want to start sending out thank you cards. When I talk to somebody, I want to send out a thank you card afterwards. So you're going to put that in the checklist, and then little by little, you'll be able to add that in as you work a deal through, and you're creating things that how you want to be as an agent. So you stop forgetting and trying to remember everything you want to do for each specific person, and now you just have lists of things that you know you are going to do And if you don't do them, at least you knew you didn't do them, but they were on the list that you checked off. So it's really cool, super easy to use. It follows the Trello system if you've ever used Trello boards. So let's just dive in. Does anybody have any initial questions to start off? And if you guys don't, if you're asking and you're on mute, just in the lower left-hand corner, just click that unmute and ask away. Bueller, all right. We're
Or
going
the upper
then.
right corner. Oh.
Up lower left. Well, I guess
Or
probably
the
depends
upper
on where
right if you're on an iPad.
you're- Ooh, thank you, Mike Nelson. Always a pleasure to have you in a class.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be in your class.
Yeah, your voice just sounds so familiar. It's so soothing. Okay. And we're going to begin. Can everyone, if anybody can't see my screen, let me know. But this is, you guys may not look, when we start to go in this, oh, you know what I need to do? I need to sign out. Okay, first of all, I want to let you guys know that when I call tech support, most of the time when I have a problem, they say, hey, would you open command in an incognito window? The reason they say that is if you're using Chrome, which they prefer you use, if you're using Chrome thinks it's real smart. And so it tries to guess at the stuff that it thinks you want to go. The places you've been, it drops cookies and sends you back. So it tries to kind of outthink you. And sometimes command needs to have a fresh space. And so it doesn't go back in and utilize those cookies. And it goes to exactly the place it's supposed to go. That's the reason you would open an incognito window. So it doesn't try to utilize cookies to try to put you places that it thinks you need to go. How you do that is if you have Chrome open as your browser, you click on these three little, can you guys see this? I don't see my orange thing around, or did I lose it?
See ya.
You can see it. Okay, perfect. So you click on these three little dots in the upper right corner, and you just click on New Incognito Window. So we're going to open that up, and it looks just like this. Basically, it's no longer going to track your cookies, and it's not going to allow cookies. If you don't know what that means, that's okay. Just know sometimes issues have to do with cookies. Okay, so we're at kwagent.kw.com. I type it wrong every time. I'm going to sign in. Hello, demo. Hello, Moto. No one's laughing. This is really hard. I tell my funny jokes and no one's there to laugh. Or I'm pretending that you're laughing and you're just on mute. Thank you. Yay, I love you people. You guys can come to my class anytime. Okay, so here we are. We are in our command system, and you're going to see this as the demo account. Over on the left, the two little hands shaking, this is opportunities. The reason it's called opportunities is this is an opportunity for you to possibly get this to close and get a commission. It is my opportunity to make a deal happen. Opportunities are not specific to a contact. So your contact is not the opportunity. And one contact may have multiple opportunities. Maybe they need to sell a house and then buy a house and then buy an investment property and sell their second home. That's 4 different opportunities. So you'll say which contact is associated with the opportunity, but the opportunity is not the contact. So just to get that clarified. So we're going to click right here on opportunities, the little handshake, let's make a deal. And from here, this is what everyone should look like. Now, what we're going to do is our goal is to move an opportunity or move a possibility of a deal through these are called phases. Okay, these are phases. So once I get a lead, I'm going to cultivate that to move to appointment. Once I have an appointment, I'm going to move that to an active transaction, which in the listings would be a listing agreement. Then I'm trying to move that active listing agreement to under contract. And then I'm trying to move that under contract to close. So these are the phases of a transaction. You cannot customize the phases. We will customize the stages within each phase. So if I'm in the cultivate a listing lead, what are the things I need to do? What are the steps that I would go through initially on that lead? Or if I have a buyer, same thing. Buyers are moving from cultivating a lead to getting to a buyer's appointment, to signing a buyer's representation and having an active transaction, to signing a purchase and sale and we are under contract, to closing. We also have leases here, but of course, we're not going to go into a lot to leases because we don't do that a lot. That's a little bit more in the bigger cities when there's leasing agents. Today, you guys, we're going to go deep into the buyers. We did listings last time, so we're going to hit buyers nice and deep today. So I want everyone to be on this screen, and we're going to begin with cultivate in buyers. Now, I just want to show you. Somebody said, my sister said to me, "Hey, I want to just be able to see all of my opportunities in a big list. I don't want to have to look in each one of these separate phases." Well, right up here at the top, you can click all opportunities, and now you're just going to get a list. Buyer, seller, lease, it doesn't matter. It's one big list. So just know that's available to you. If I just want to see everything that I've got out there, it's going to tell me what type it is, what phase it's in, what's the volume, and what's the projected commission, close dates, and tags. But we're going to work over here in this demo. That should have your name or your team right there. Now, teams, if you are the Rainmaker, you should be able to see the team and you'll have your own personal name. Just make sure you're always working in the team if you want to make sure to have that team, be able to use this team functionality. The team can't see the individual. It has to be in the team. Okay, so I want everyone to begin. If you brought your checklists, which I hope everybody did, if you have a checklist or a spreadsheet of what you make sure happens during a transaction, I want you to get those out now because we're going to begin. Everyone click right here in the Buyers Cultivate. So just click right on Buyers Cultivate. Now yours is going to look a little different than mine. Somebody shout out to me, what are the stages that you see on your screen right now?
Watch, nurture, and hot.
Okay, what was it again, Jamie?
Watch, nurture, and hot.
Perfect. So you guys have watch, nurture, hot. So that's your basic of Keller Williams is like, okay, we're watching this initial opportunity, then we're nurturing it, and then it becomes hot. Well, I don't think that makes any sense to me. So we're going to change it out, and I'm going to have you guys put together these stages. So we're in the phase of cultivate for buyers. We're going to add the stages. I am trying to move from cultivate to appointment. What needs to happen, and what are the different stages before I get to an appointment when I've been given a lead? So I want everybody to click on in this upper right, edit stages. So this is what it's going to look like when we're done, but we want to create it. So I want everyone to click in the upper right and click edit stages. Does anyone need help on getting to this point? Okay. Edit stages. Now you guys are going to have your watch, nurture, and hot. Well, I want you guys to change them out to these 5 stages. Does someone have their hand raised? Just pipe up if you do.
What are your 5 stages? Go ahead and read them.
Excellent idea. Thank you. So our first stage we're going to start with. Now either you can, I don't like watch. I don't understand what watch is. I don't like it. So just go over to the right on watch, and I want you to click this little pen. This little pen, so that is the edit. And you're going to change your watch stage to initiate contact. Initiate contact. Because in my mind, like what Jamie said, when I get a lead, someone says, hey, call my sister's boyfriend's former roommate's mom who wants to buy. I need to initiate contact with that person. So my first stage is initiate contact. Now, what is the probability that if I initiate contact, I will make it to commission? I say it's about 1% because I literally have no idea what's going to go from here. They may say, no, I'm not interested. I'm not going to sell a house. I don't have a house to sell, or they can say whatever. So I say it's about a 1% probability. Then I want you to click save. Now it should look like this. In position number 1, initiate contact, but you should have probably 0 of 4 because we haven't created the checklist of when I initiate contact, what do I need to do? So I want you to click on this checklist, the 0 of 0. And this should be blank for you. Is that correct for everybody?
Yep.
Okay. These are at least the 4 stages I want you to do. Well, do at least 3, but these are the 4 I like. The first stage is you're going to add item, and you're going to type call. Because if you get a lead, probably like Jamie said, the first thing you do is call them. So call and then hit save. Then we're going to add another item. Well, the second thing I think most people do is we try to text them if we have a phone number. So I want you to add another item, and I want you to click add item. I want you to text. And I want you to hit save. Whoa, there we go. I want you to hit save. Now the next one is your choice. When I hit add item, before I email somebody, I Facebook message them because I get a lot of communication through Facebook Messenger. So I'm going to try to find them, and I try to send them a Facebook message. So that's what I do. But you might want to say email, or you might say I'm not going to do either of those. If I call and text, I'm going to do that. The third I want at least, or this fourth one for me, is I want you to follow up with the referrer. So if you've called, you've texted, you've Facebook messaged or email, or maybe you like to drive by their house, or maybe you like to whatever, I'm going to call back that person that referred them and said, hey, I've tried to get a hold of them. It's a no-go. What should I do next? So to initiate contact, those are the 4 things I make sure get done. Call, text, Facebook message, and I follow up with the referrer. Then I want you guys to click save. We just created a checklist that if I have an opportunity in the stage of cultivate, in the phase of initiate contact, I'm trying to get through that checklist, and it's going to show up, and I'm going to check those off. Okay, next one. You guys have, so we've changed watch to initiate contact. Then you guys have a nurture. But I think there's one in between nurture. I want to do some things when I've connected, when I've actually talked to that person. So I want you guys to click in the upper right corner, add new stage. I'm going to actually do this one. Well, I want to see it. Add new stage. I want the stage name to be connected. Or, no, actually, that's a lie. Contacted. You can say spoken with. You can say whatever you want, but I want contacted. I've initiated contact, and now I've actually contacted them. Your probability, okay, what do you think it is? If I've actually talked to them, we haven't done anything other than talk to them, what's my probability of getting to close? I put 5% on mine. I said the probability is 5%. Now the position, this is number 2. So your position should be 2 of, so I think you'll be at 3. 2 of 3. So your stage name should be contacted. This should be 5%, and it should be position 2. Now you're going to click add items because we're going to add our checklist. So I'm going to show you my checklist. I'm going to say, once I've contacted them, I'm going to send a thank you note. Because I wish I did that. I learned that from Bold. I learned that from Ignite. I wish I was doing that. So I'm going to put that in there. Second, add item. I'm going to friend them on Facebook. Now, you don't have to do friend on Facebook if that's not your thing. And then the third thing I'm doing is starting an 8x8 smart plan for buyers. Because remember, this is a buyer lead. So if I've actually talked to them, I'm going to start them on an 8x8 for buyers. Now, you can pick whatever you'd like for your item, even if it's just one thing. Maybe it's just friend on Facebook. Maybe it's just send a follow-up text with my business, with my app, or just send thank you on a text. Or maybe you want to call, you know what I just realized? I'm going to add item. I'm going to call referrer and thank them. Hit save. So if anything, why don't you guys add that one? Call the referrer and thank them for the lead. Hit save. So now we should have initiate contact. Now your connected might be at the bottom, but you can just drag and drop these in any order you want just by grabbing them. So initiate contact, contacted, then I say at that point we nurture. Because remember, we're still not to appointment yet. I'm trying to get them to appointment. I've talked to them. Now I need to nurture this lead. So I want you guys to, you have nurture. I want you guys to click right here on the checklist and I want you to add an item. I put set up on listing alert. If I've talked to them and they're a buyer and I'm nurturing this lead, I'm going to set up on a listing alert in Navica. Maybe you want to, you know, something, maybe this is where you want to put them on an 8x8 campaign, or you want to do whatever it is, add something to that list. I at least want to set up on listing alert. Hit save. Now we're nurturing this. As we nurture, there really are two things that can happen as a result of us nurturing a lead. One is they say, you know what? Yes, I'd like an appointment to talk about buying a house. Or they can say, what? What's our second option?
Not now.
Not now. Exactly right. So I'm not ready. Not now. No. Whatever it is. So we need two options that when we're nurturing, something happens. So I take my hot. It says it's hot. This is ready. You could change hot to ready, yes to begin, whatever. I just left it as hot. And I'm going to add to my checklist on hot, get their pre-approval letter from their lender, and schedule the appointment for the buyer's consult. So I want to know that they said yes, and I've scheduled the appointment and when we're going to do the buyer's consult, and I'm going to work on getting their pre-approval letter from their lender. Okay, hit save. Now you guys need to add in the not ready. If Jamie said, not now. Up in the upper right, I want you to add a new stage. I want you to call it, whether it's not ready, not now, no, whatever you want to call it. What's the probability if they said not ready? You might drop back down to 0 or 1%, because I don't believe in no, it's just not now. And then this is in 6th position. Now, what are you going to do if they say not now? Here are my suggestions. Set them up on a 36-touch smart plan, which means they start getting my marketing material. And I'm going to calendar a follow-up for 3 months down the road just to make sure things didn't change after 3 months. So add those two. Set them up on kind of a long-term marketing smart plan. I call it the 36-touch smart plan. And I'm saying smart plan, you guys, because eventually you're going to use the smart plans. And so you would just be able to go in and check and add them to in their contact, add them to those smart plans. So start using that verbiage, smart plans. It used to be called campaigns. Now it's called smart plans. And calendar a follow-up for 3 months. And then hit save. We have now set together up, if we receive a lead and we're trying to move it to appointment, we will be moving this person through these stages. And by the end of the stage, they're either going to have an appointment with us or tell us they're not ready to buy. Any questions on this, on how to build these out right here? We're going to go through the rest, but we're going to go a little bit quicker because we're just going to start building them. Anybody have any questions? Unmute if you have one. I'm assuming you're all like, this is easy. Man, I can't believe how easy this is. Oh, I've been waiting for this forever. Yay. I'm just putting that in because I know that's how you're feeling. Okay, from here, I want you to see visually how this is going to look. So in the upper left, I want you to click back on this cultivate. Here's sales pipeline. That would take you back to that main screen with your listings and your buyers. I want you to click back over to cultivate, and it's going to take you. And now you should see all of your stages. What I want you to do, or what I'm just going to show you, don't do it now. I'm just going to show you how it looks. When you're ready and you have a lead, you would come in here and you'd create an opportunity. So you click on create opportunity. Your market center is East Idaho. If you have a team, it would be there. This is a buyer opportunity. Your name would be the owner. The client would need to be in your contacts. So initially when you start this, you would add the person in your contacts, and you can actually do that from Kelly when you're at the grocery store and you got the name, add them to the contacts. So I'm going to say Susie. So I got Susie seller. Oh, wait, no, I have buyer. Who's my buyer? Let's see. Buyer. Brian Buyer. Did I have Brian Buyer in there? No. I'm going to do tests then.
Are they done by date or something? How are they sorted?
I need a Brian Byers.
Jessica, I have a question real quick.
Absolutely.
Hold on, I gotta fix my hair. Okay. Just kidding. Okay, I'm searching my client. I'm trying to add my client and I start typing my name and everything in my command is, we've got a fairly large database. So the person I'm searching, her name is Nicole.
Okay.
Now, all of the Nicoles with the proper spelling come up, but they're not in alphabetical last name order. Have I done something wrong with my entry?
No, because they're doing alphabetical by the first name.
Yes. Well,
So I
yeah,
don't know
they're
why
on-
that is, but can you type the last name? I usually try to type their last name.
Okay.
And then they'll be alphabetical.
Did that come up right?
Nicole.
Hey, Jessica, this is Nicole.
Hi, Nicole. What do you say?
Hey, when I have been working in command, I can never get them to alphabetize. It seems completely random. And until they've got this recent search feature that you can choose the first name or the last name, the search results have just been all over the board. So I agree with you that you could search by last name. But if you can't, if all you know is their name is Nicole, I have not been able to figure out how to get them the last name alphabetized.
And that's true. They mentioned that on one of the training sessions before, that they have an internal search function and they're trying to get it honed in a little bit better. So that will get better every day.
Yeah, it's better now with the first and last name options. Before it was just craziness.
Okay. Michelle, did you find your person by doing last name?
I did. And then, okay, so the husband the last name is Peterson.
Uh-huh.
So I've got two people with the same first name. Is there any way to, and never mind, I'm sure that's not the case. I just don't know which, I would have, because I have them in a relationship, the husband, wife, but it's not pulling it up as, you know,
You
a
gotta put it in
buyer.
the co-buyer. So you would do one is the client and one is the co-buyer. So maybe the wife and the husband, but you would put them in this separate one. So you would search for Peterson here and then search for Peterson over here.
Her as co-client.
Did that answer the question? Is that what you meant, Michelle?
Sure. Well, I'm still having trouble with command because I've got two of the same Peterson first names in here. So I don't know which one is connected to Nicole. So I'm
Oh, you have the same first name, like two John Petersons.
yes.
Right.
Ooh. You know what? I don't know. We'll have to look in that afterwards and figure that out.
See what I mean? So if I tag one and it's the wrong one, I'm assuming that everything here is going to be put into his individual contact.
Correct.
But I would have thought that, and maybe this is something I just need to send a command, asking that the co-buyer is populated by relationships that I put into.
That would be a good suggestion because that's going to happen. There might be two John Petersons. So yeah, let's take that offline. But yeah, that is a good. We'll write that down because we do need to suggest that how we're going to make that work.
Thank you.
Good suggestion. Okay.
Okay,
guys. Go ahead.
I have a thought about that. It's if you actually go and look at the contact card and put some kind of mark in his name, John L. Peterson, or John Y. Peterson, or John Nicole Peterson, so that you can specifically link them. Then you could go in and change it later if you wanted.
That would help if you find you have two. Yeah.
I don't have that kind of memory.
Yeah, but that would probably be if you see that you've got two in there, you'd probably have to close this opportunity.
Right. I'm
Go
going to
back
have
to your
to.
Petersons and differentiate them.
Names.
Yeah.
I agree. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we've got the client and the co-buyer, the opportunity name. So I'm assuming we're going to be probably looking at this a lot like we did .loop. Just so you know how I do it. If I have a buyer, I use their name as the beginning and then their address, the address they're looking for. Or if I don't have an address yet, I put buyer. If it's a listing, I use the listing address and then the buyer's name. So that's just how I do it. These custom tags. Okay, I've gotten a lot of questions about these, and I appreciate Hallie for bringing up these ideas. You have tags in your contacts, but the contact tags and the opportunity tags are different. And I want you to think of it like this. The tags that you put on a contact are for searching your contacts. It's for marketing. It's for, I want to pull up everybody that's in my farm. So all the, the Stonebrook are all together. Or I went to the Eastern Idaho State Fair, and so I want to find everybody who I got there. So I have a tag of EI State Fair. Something like that's to search your contacts. But when this is an opportunity, this is a specific opportunity. It doesn't matter that they were from the East Idaho State Fair because that's not specific to the opportunity. The opportunity might be, this is a first-time home buyer, so they need to take the first-time home buyer class. Or maybe the tag is the lender. Maybe you use ICCU and you want to make sure everybody that's using ICCU is here, or that you know the lender, so you want the tag on there. Maybe you tag the title company. These are tags specific to the deal. So it's not having anything to do with the contact, because contact is searching and grouping and marketing. This is specific to the deal. So I love the idea of the title companies, or your lender, or maybe the referrer, so you don't forget to go back and so you can do whatever custom tag, but that's why these are different. Like I put a 1031 exchange. If this is a 1031 exchange, I need to know that about this opportunity. Okay? So I want you all to think of the tags that way. Now, the next one is estimated closing date. Well, this is a brand new buyer. I don't know when we're going to close yet. Time frame. I'm looking right now. It's in the next month that we're trying to find it. What's their budget? Their budget is $250,000. I'm looking to make 3% commission on that. What phase am I starting this? So even though this might be the first time I get the lead, maybe I've already talked to them. Maybe I've already got an appointment and I'm now just getting it into command. You can change which phase you put it in, but I'm assuming that this is the first time I got the lead and I'm adding the opportunity in for the first time. And I'm on the initiate contact. So I'm starting from scrap one and I create the opportunity.
Jessica, real quick. So when we're creating an opportunity, the first step would have been to make them a contact.
Correct.
Then create the opportunity. Okay, thank you.
Yep, excellent. Thanks for pointing that out, Michelle. Yep, exactly right. I put him in my contacts, and most likely you put him in the contacts in your phone. So I have my Gmail contacts synced with command. So when I was standing there and I put it with somebody in a contact in my Gmail on my phone, by the time I got back to command and I'm entering the opportunity, they would have already been there. So that's pi syncing your commands, your contacts in Gmail. We'll talk about that another time, but that's what should happen. Is I entered in my contacts on my phone when I'm in the grocery store or when I'm on the phone or I got the lead. By the time I set up the opportunity, they're in my contacts. That's how it's supposed to work. Okay, so now we're in the opportunity. Now you can go in here and edit this and create and get more of the details. You're going to track every date. When is the appointment scheduled? When is the actual appointment date? When did I win the buyer's rep? When's my contract date? When's my closing date? I'm going to put all the details in. So this is training buyer. My former roommate said this is her sister that wants to buy. Okay, so whatever details about this contact that I need to be able to look at. Now you'll notice, because I initially started the opportunity and I did it in cultivate, initiate contact, the checklist is already here. So my checklist of initiate contact and cultivate, I need to call, text, and I can check those boxes off. So I'm going to make my first call. I'm going to send her a text. And maybe I got a hold of her at that point and I can close. So I've done 2 of the 4 things in the buyer cultivate stage for this opportunity. Now I want to go back out. And there it is. So now if I opened up my buyers cultivate, if I'm doing lead gen each day, and I want to make sure I'm following up with the people that I've already got leads with, I would be opening up my cultivate every day because I'm trying to cultivate these guys into actual appointments. Who do I need to initiate contact with? Who did I talk with but I haven't gotten into appointment? Who's in the nurture stage? Who's, and I'm completing these little checklists on all of these little cards. It's like having sticky notes all over my desk. That's what it looks like. Now, if I talked to Test, I called and I called him and I texted and I got a hold. So I've actually contacted Test buyer. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to move it to contacted. I'm going to say, okay, have I sent the thank you note? Did I friend her on Facebook? Did I start her on the smart plan? I'm going to check my boxes. Maybe this contact has something specific I needed to do. Maybe this contact is maybe they really like Marco Polo. Sent a Marco Polo to intro myself. Maybe I need to do that. I can set a due date to have that done. Maybe I need to get that done tomorrow because I found out she really likes Marco Polo. Well, that due date's going to populate in Kelly on the things on my tasks that I need to do each day. I can set the due date right in there and I can add that, but that does not add it to my edit stages, my template. It's just specific for this opportunity. And I'm going to hit close. So I've got that going through. I can see 4 of the 5 things I needed to be done. I'm going to move this card all the way through until I know what I'm doing. And if they end up at not ready, and I open this up, if it's not ready and I complete my checklist on not ready, I can actually move this to a lost opportunity. Not ready, not going to go. I put them on the long-term marketing. I set up my follow-up, and I'm going to move it as a lost opportunity. This specific one's done. I would start a new opportunity if this person decides to reinitiate and I get them moving back into possibly buying. So that's the overview, you guys, of understanding why we're setting up the checklist. Any questions about that? Because now we're going to go through more checklists. But I wanted you guys to visualize why we're doing it and how this looks. Any questions? Any ahas at this point? Okay. Now, if you're on a team, you'll notice right here, it shows this little circle. This is the person who started and owns this opportunity. If you're on a team, you can add in, let's say you're a rainmaker, and you want to assign this buyer to your buyer's agent. Well, you would initiate the opportunity because the lead came into you, and you're going to pass it to your buyer's agent. Well, you would add at the bottom, if you're on a team, at the bottom of the opportunities, you can add assignees, and you would add that person to the assignee, and then it would have them and you, and maybe you added the admin or the transaction coordinator and the transaction coordinator, and then maybe you add, you add, and you would see along here everyone who is a part of this transaction or this opportunity. Okay? Any questions? Does this look like it's going to be pretty easy to use?
Yes, it looks amazing.
Michelle, thanks for being in my class. Appreciate you. Yeah, it's going to be great. Okay, so I'm going to go back out up here, back out into my, this is your pipeline, right? I'm going to go into it one more time because I want you guys to see it, get comfortable how we're walking through this. You can create an opportunity right from this page. So we've already done cultivate. We've already gone through, we've set all of our stages in our cultivate phase. So now I want to go to appointment. I want everyone, now this is going to get a little faster, you guys, because now we're doing setup. Now we have an overview of how it's going to look. Now I want to get set up for the rest. So I'm going to click on appointment. And I don't remember what you guys have in here. I think you have 2 though. Am I right? You have 2 different stages?
Jess,
Yes.
are you having the server error again?
No. Did I have, are you guys getting a server error? Yeah. You guys, everybody else having server errors?
If they do a refresh, they'll find that they are.
No, it's fine on my side.
We're fine too as well.
No, we have the server error also.
Okay. Refresh. If you have to, I've logged out and logged back in. Go to an incognito window sometimes, but server just means that there might be a lot of people training in command. So try to log back in. Nelson Group having server errors. Okay. So you guys, I'm going to kind of keep going on this since not everybody's got them. We'll see if I get into a server error in a second. Just log back out, come back in, and catch up with us. So the 2, when we're in this, and remember, we've moved from cultivate, now we're into an appointment. So the first thing I want to have is if you have an appointment, sometimes what happens is we've got an appointment scheduled, but then guess what? They cancel and they reschedule. So before I can have them keep an appointment, I might have a stage that's rescheduled. So I'm going to click in the upper right on edit stages, upper right corner, edit stages. And I want you guys, if you guys, I can't remember what the very first one is, but I want you guys to add a rescheduled stage. So if you have one other than kept, I want you to either start a new stage or I want you to edit the one that's there. I can't remember which one is in there. And I want you to change the first stage to rescheduled. Either add a new stage or edit the first one to rescheduled. I use the probability of 10%. Artificial intelligence will start to watch this and it'll start to learn and modify those for us. But now the checklist. If someone has rescheduled their appointment, The two things I want you guys to add is I want you to calendar the next appointment, and I want you to follow up with their lender. If you got a pre-approval letter, follow up with the lender. Now, if you don't want to put follow up with the lender, but I at least want you calendaring the next appointment. Okay? What else might you do? Somebody else give me another suggestion. If someone reschedules, what's something else that you want to add to your checklist before they get to the actual appointment to get them back on track? Somebody give me an idea.
I sent them a picture of a couple properties that they expressed interest in. Hey, well, how does this one look?
Excellent. Loved him. Try to prime them back into that by sending them a property. Love it.
I think I lose you. I do that.
And if you haven't figured that out, that's my sister. She's
Yeah,
going to pipe up a lot. We come from the same family. Okay. All right. So we hit save, guys. Let's move to the next one. Okay. If they've rescheduled, but the goal is to get them to kept. So they've kept the appointment. Now you might want to call it something else, but they kept the appointment. Click on the checklist. Number one, you provided them a blue brochure. If they've kept an appointment with you, they should be getting a blue brochure. Number two, sign the buyer's rep. If we have a consultation, I want to sign that buyer's rep. Next one is follow up with the loan officer. I add that on every time just to make sure I've got their financing stuff moving along, but you may not want to have that. Okay, so then hit save. Oh, did I hit save? Save. Now, the next stage after buyer's appointment is active buyer. Is there anything else that we would need to do? Once we had an appointment, what's the third thing that could happen? They didn't reschedule, they've kept the appointment. What's another thing that can happen before we move into actually being under contract and we're looking for houses? Could they not be ready? Maybe they're not ready. Maybe we found out they're not ready to buy. So I want to add a stage, and I want to add a not now. Not now. So my probability is 1%. Nicole, I'm going to mute you if that's okay, because there you go. Position 3. Now, if they said they're not ready now, I'm going to first calendar my follow-up. I'm going to calendar my follow-up for 1 month, or maybe you want to calendar it for a couple weeks, but calendar the follow-up, hit save. I'm going to add to Smart Plan. Maybe it's my getting ready to buy.
How are you doing this calendar, the follow-up?
Say that one more time, John.
How are you doing the calendar, the follow-up? I don't have that screen.
Oh, this is, once I created the not now stage, and then I hit add item.
That was brand new.
Did you find that, John?
Yes, it is. Okay.
Got it? Okay, so I added item. Calendar to follow up for 1 month. I added them to getting ready to, Smart Plan I'm going to call getting ready to buy. Then I am going to notify or update. I'm going to say update. Update refer. Because if that referrer is expecting them to be moving toward buying, they don't want to let them know, hey, you know what, they're not ready to go. Thank you so much. Appreciate the referral. Hit save. So there are my phases. Now, if I get through this and I go through kept, they've kept the appointment and either I signed a buyer's rep or they're not now. Now, you may choose to not have in that kept that buyer's rep and the loan officer. Maybe that's not in the kept. Maybe you just want to make sure that if they came to the appointment, that you've got a blue brochure out of it, and you add another stage that is ready to go or hot. It's whatever you feel like. You're going to start to modify those. You're like, well, if they're sitting in the kept thing, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're gonna. So I want to have another one, or I don't want to have so many. And you can go back and start modifying those. But if they've kept the appointment, and I check these babies off, we're moving to active. I'm ready to go. Okay? So now We've got the 3 done. Anything else that you would have in here? Anybody have any other suggestions that might go into if we're in the appointment and we're moving to active, which means we have a buyer's rep and we're looking for houses? Anything that we missed? Okay. Click in the upper left, back to appointment. We've just finished our appointment stage and we're moving to active. So click right here into active. We're going to modify our phases. So our stages. So I'm going to click on edit stages in the upper right. The first stage I believe we should be in, I think you guys only have showing and negotiations. So I added searching. So in that idea is maybe we haven't even started showing, because I don't show a house until they've looked at the houses and driven by and done all those things. And then when we're ready to make an offer, then we go and show houses. So I added a stage called searching. Now you may want to just do showing. It's up to you, but at least add a checklist. So the first thing that I do when I added searching, I added a new stage. I called it searching. Probability, if we're searching, I put 50%. That's probably a little high. I'm going to edit that. I'm going to move this to 40. It's probably 40% chance that if they're looking and we haven't even shown houses, that we're about 40% getting to closing. My checklist. The first thing I do when they are searching for properties is I send them my app. Then I'm going to search properties and send them a list of properties that I believe match their criteria. Third, I'm going to send them an email on the process of how we show houses, of how we go out and look at houses. So those are my 3. I send them my app. I search for the properties and send them the list that I think, and I send them an email that's on the process of showing houses. Now you may say, hey, I'm going to create a smart plan that actually has all this in it. And so all I would do was start them on smart plan for now it's time to look for houses. And that will come from me down the road, because I plan on having a smart plan that texts them my app and sends them the properties and blah, does that stuff. So that'll come down the road. Hit save. If I'm going too fast, let me know. Next one is they move to showing. Once they've done all that and they've started to drive by the houses, which is in my instructions on how we look for houses, I move into the showing. I schedule a date to show houses for them. I confirm that they've driven by the properties that we want to look at before we go out and look at them. I create the order in which we're going to look at those houses, and I follow up the loan officer to make sure everything's still okay with their financing if they wanted to make an offer today. So scheduled the date to show. I confirm they've driven by the properties, create an order of showing, and follow up with the loan officer. Give you guys a second to create yours. Maybe you just have one. You don't have to be fancy. If you're one of those that if there's a lot of checklists, you won't do it, keep it simple. And save. The next start is once we've shown, the next phase for me is I've shown we're making an offer. So I have negotiation. If you want to call make an offer and you want to have a checklist there, if you want to call it negotiations, whatever you think you want to call it, I'm calling it negotiations. In the negotiations phase, this negotiation stage, I get an updated pre-approval letter. I'm going to write a cover letter. I'm going to get all the financing terms from the loan officer because I know I'm going to need that for the offer. And I'm going to verify what kind of earnest money they're going to do. I may also add, what is their time frame for closing from loan officer? Okay, but that'd probably be in the financing terms. I don't know. So add in what you think you need for the active, in the active phase, the stage of negotiations. What do you need to do if you're in negotiations? Now, you may want to call this making an offer. So if I hit save, say I don't like negotiations. I'm going to call it making an offer. So I just go over and edit on the right. If I make an offer, I'm 80% sure we're going to get to closing. Now I made an offer. Now I have all of my items in there for making an offer. I could then at that point add another stage, and maybe that's a negotiation. And maybe this is 80%. And I'm going to add an item. Maybe in negotiation, let's see, call the listing agent and verbally confirm terms. Maybe I'm going to look at, let's see, what else would you do as a buyer? Because remember, this is from the buyer's perspective. Anybody else have any ideas? In the middle, once you've made an offer, what else would you do during negotiation? Maybe talk about maximum price with the buyer. What else might you do? Anybody have any idea what you do during negotiation if you're the buyer?
Get the seller's motivation probably can't be one, huh?
Ooh, I like that. Let's say get the seller's motivation. I like that. Maybe you can ask. You could ask. I like it. How can I sweeten the pot? Talk to the listing agent about how I can sweeten the pot. I love it. Now I realize when I'm thinking about this, in the make an offer, I may want to go back in here. Maybe I want to add it there. I'm going to call the listing agent and ask for motivation. Maybe that's back and make the offer. I like that. And that would be right at the beginning. Write that cover letter. I think it's going to go down here. Maybe that's the last thing I do. You can see you can just drag and drop these in the order you want to put them in. Okay, so for this point, you guys, in your active, it means we have a buyer who has a buyer's rep. They are active. We're moving them from searching for properties to showing them homes to making an offer to negotiating the contract. You might add another stage in there if you think you need another step, but that's what I've got. Okay, now click back on active. Does anyone need me to clarify those or write those down? I mean, you need more time to write those down? Okay, click back over to active. Once I've moved them from active and we've negotiated, now I would be under contract. Now I'm going to be under contract. So in the upper right corner, I want you guys to click edit stages. So start file, inspections, appraisal, financing, clear to close. So initially, once I go under contract, I begin the start file. What are the things I'm going to do to begin this file? You might not say start file. You may say, I don't know. Now I can think of a start file. But initially, what do you need to do when you first have a executed contract? Number one, and I don't remember what you guys have in this one. I can't remember how many of these you have.
Home
I think
inspector.
inspection, appraisal, financing, clear to close. Yeah, okay.
It starts with escrow, then inspections, appraisal, financing.
That's right. And so since we don't necessarily do escrow, like it's not the same as like Texas, I changed escrow to start file. Thanks for mentioning that. Start file. My checklist is, remember this is a buyer, and then it reminds you at the top, remind to deposit earnest money. That's the first thing I want to do when we start the file. I send a list of home inspectors. We schedule the home inspection. Mike Johnson's going to like this. We upload the documents to compliance. Did someone really laugh at that? We actually had a laugh, Mike Johnston. I can't believe it.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's funny. The next one is send the contracts to title and the loan officer. Next is I send out a email called the overview of the process to buyer. And that might be a smart plan that you create that does certain things every other day. They get a little update on, a little email or a call or a text or something. So I do remind deposit of earnest money. So you might just put earnest money if you want. Home inspectors, schedule the home inspection, upload documents to compliance, send contract to title and loan officer, and send out whatever. I put send out overview of process to buyer. So I'm going to give you guys a second because this is the long list on the initial escrow or the start the file.
If it's a cash deal, you may want proof of funds.
Oh, does somebody have a question? I didn't hear you.
If it's a cash deal, you may want to get proof of funds.
Ooh, I love that. Add that in. Add item, cash deal, proof of funds. Love it. And that would put right up there at the top. Okay, love it. Good one. If anybody else have another idea? I love that idea. Mike, anything you can think of that we would need to do? We're getting a little more into now into transaction, into compliance. Crickets. Okay. All right, everyone got that? Hit save. Now, that was the start the file. The next one is inspections. So what I have in inspections, everyone see, I just click on the checklist right here. I'm going to add my checklist. First one is schedule a time with the listing agent, because now we're into inspection. Schedule a time with the listing agents. Prepare the buyer for a long list of honeydews. So I want to make sure I have the conversation that this inspection is going to have a long list, and these are just honeydews. This is not when we come and have the contract fall apart. Now you may have that in the setup file. Maybe you send up an email, or that's the first thing in inspections. They get an email explaining. Now I always say to everybody, this is my advice. I'm teaching on command, but this is my advice. If you're going to say the same thing to every buyer every time, you should have a video and it should be in an email. If it's the same thing you need to say every time and it's for every buyer, you should have a video done that explains that. So maybe you have a video that says, let's talk about what happens during the inspection. Because you need to explain that stuff to them. So maybe you would send it out at this point. Because sometimes I explain it and I explain it differently every time and I forget the one little nuance that makes a difference for them. So have a video. Next, is there need to be a well inspection? Does there need to be a septic inspection? Now I'm going to submit the RE10. And I put submit, and I'm going to edit this. Submit RE10 to, oops, my fingers are on the wrong keys, to listing agent. Now, what might you have in between this? You can have closing dates on this, as I showed you on the actual opportunity. Inspection received. Received. Whoops. Received. Discuss with buyer. I can't type. So I may have this way up here. Before we do the submit the RE10, I'm going to say I've received the inspection. I've discussed it with the buyer. We're going to submit the RE10 to the listing agent. We're going to negotiate the RE10. And do we need a secondary inspection? So for you guys, if you're creating a list, the things I think you should have are scheduling the time with the listing agent for the inspection. Is there a well inspection needed? Is there a septic inspection needed? The inspection is received. Discuss it with the buyer. You're submitting the RE10 to listing agent. You're negotiating RE10. And if you want to put the secondary inspections, but that's the minimum. Schedule it. Well and septic, received, submit RE10, negotiate RE10. Or instead of negotiate, you might have RE10 finalized, accepted, you know, something like that. Maybe we'd add that in there. RE10 accepted. Because when you check this off, it's going to put a note of that date in there when that was completed. Is there anything, excuse me, during inspection, you guys, that we missed? Anybody else have something out there that you think that we should have on there that's helpful in a transaction during the inspection period? Nothing? Okay, hit save. Once we pass the inspection, we're moving to appraisal. Now on the appraisal, let's click on here to add the checklist. I follow up with the loan officer on the order. that it's actually been ordered. Some loan officers want the realtor to say, hey, it's good to order. Some want the buyer to verify, whatever it is. Follow up with the loan officer that was ordered. Verify the appraiser has an e-key, that they don't need to let you in. What is the due date? Are there lender required repairs? And I would add an item, signed off by lender. So the minimum I want you to have is follow up on the order. What's the due date? And have lender required repairs. Is everyone finding this pretty easy? I'm assuming from the quiet that we're getting all this done. Let me know if I'm going too fast. At this point, you should be old hat now that we've done this enough. Okay, save. Next one, we're into the financing save. So we've assumed we're at past inspection, we're past appraisal, now we're into final. They call it financing, but you may call it final underwriting. I'm gonna leave that in there. Final underwriting. So I hope you guys are seeing, if you want to change the name, you just click right over here on the right. If there's one you don't like, you can just delete it right there. Final underwriting, checklist, all documents in. Now this is for the buyer, right? So once we've got past the appraisal, I check with those buyers. Have you turned in all your documents? Is the file in final underwriting? Is it actually submitted to underwriting? And have they sent out the CD, the closing disclosure? So at least for you guys, at least in the checklist, are all documents in? And I'm going to change this name. In final underwriting, question mark. And I add the CD because that seems to be something that I have to find a lot, is if they don't have the CD out and we're trying to get to close. Anything else that someone can think of that we should add here? If we've moved past inspection and appraisal and we're moving to final underwriting, what else would you may want to add on here that you want to make sure is done? Who has an idea?
I don't know, could you put, this would be your closing appointment?
Love it. Love it. You could do that. I've added another clear to close. So I usually add it there, but I think so. If you want to look at that at that point, sure. Especially if it's getting toward the end of the month and maybe it's going to be tight. You might add in here, homeowners insurance selected and turned in. You know, that might be something you're checking on up here. Anybody else have another idea that would help everybody on what might need to be happening at this point that is helpful to you? What do you check on to get clear to close? Oh, Mike Nelson. Okay, save. All right, next stage.
Wait,
Final,
what was the last one on clear to close? Sorry.
on clear to close or final underwriting?
Clear to close.
We haven't opened up clear to close yet.
Oh, okay, final underwriting.
But Josie, if we final underwriting, my last one was CD sent out.
Thank you.
Closing disclosure.
Okay.
Okay, final is clear to close. Clear to close. So on this, I add, when I hear that we are clear to close, I do scheduling the final walkthrough. Schedule closing time. I'm going to add that in. Time. Appointment. Schedule closing appointment. Review the settlement statement. Verify commission. Now you'll notice I can't quite see everything. I don't know why it cuts it off right here and we have all this blank space. But if you hover over it, it'll tell you what it is. Review settlement statement and verify commission. Remind buyer to bring cashier's check for cash to close. Remind buyer to bring spouse and picture ID. So schedule final walkthrough, schedule closing appointment, review settlement statement and verify commission, remind buyer to bring cash to close, remind buyer to bring spouse and picture ID. Now, some of you may want to have the first one on this be send out the CD or verify the CDs out. It depends on when you want to do that. So that might be the part where you do this. Now, this is one item you might want to add. This is when I make sure to order the closing gift. I don't know if that's what you do. Order your closing gift so you're ready to go. Anything else that you guys can think of that would help everybody if they added it once we're clear to close to get ready for closing? Am I missing something?
Review the title commitment.
What was that?
Review the title commitment.
Review the title commitment. I like that. Okay. Review the final title commitment. Good idea. Anybody else? You guys are making me feel really smart that you don't have any ideas than what I've come up with. Okay, save. Now we've got all of our stages all put together in all of our checklists. So I want you to click back under contract. Under contract is all set. Now we're in the final stage. So we've moved from cultivating the lead to getting the appointment to having my buyer actively looking for a home under buyer's rep, to having under contract and getting all the way through clear to close, and our final is closed. Now at this time, this is where you may want to consider when you think about your checklist. Do I want to put things that I do post-closing, attend the closing, give the keys, do I want that in the under contract as the final stage, or do I want to go and closed? So you may want to add, someone mentioned this before. Well, I want to give them their keys. You know, I want to let them in the house. So you decide, is that another stage or on the clear to close, or is that in the actual closed phase? So when I click on closed, this final stage for me is I'm going to go in, edit stages. On closed, when we are closed, here's my checklist. I'm going to send a pizza to the buyers. I'm going to add them a long-term marketing. I add them to the long-term marketing smart plan or your 36 touch. Send out a thank you note with the referral cards to them. Post the closing pictures on Facebook. Calendar a 1 week and a 30-day follow-up. Now here might be where I add, make sure our keys and garage door openers to buyer. Now at this point, you may want to have two different stages. You may want to have two different stages. So I'm going to show you what to do. Because what might be a stage before closed? I want you guys to go ahead and kind of think about this. What did I miss that I might be able to add in as a stage here before closed?
Final walkthrough.
Final walkthrough. I had that on my checklist when I did my clear to close. What happens between going to all and signing at the title company before we're actually closed?
Calling and congratulating the buyer.
Love
and telling them
that.
not to quit their job.
Don't quit your job. Actually, Mike, I'm glad you mentioned that. You may want to put that in the final underwriting. Do not quit your job before this is over. If any of you have been in this very long, you'll have had that happen. I know I have. I'm going to add a new stage. I'm going to put funding. Because there's the signing at the title company, but that does not mean we are funded. As soon as they sign, I want to move into the close, but I want to move into the funding.
Hey, Jess, will you go back to your checklist, your closed checklist? I didn't get all of those down.
To this, okay, yeah. I'm going to move this one. I'll mention that. I'm going to go back to this one because I want to put something in the closed. We're all done. But there's some things that are happening before we're closed in my funding. So I'm going to look at this checklist. The keys in the garage door opener, I'm moving that to funding. Because that needs to happen. That needs to happen at the end before it's all closed. And the send of the pizza for the buyers, I'm moving those two. So I'm going to go right in here. I'm going to delete these. Yes, delete it. Yes, delete it right there. Okay. Hit save. I'm going to go in and add that to the checklist right here. I'm going to keys and garage door openers to buyer. Here. Send pizza for move-in. I'm going to send thank you to referrer with cards. Anything else that you guys would do in the when we're funding but it hasn't finally closed? Anything else we need to do in that time? I like what Mike said, to send a thank you. Buyer. Maybe put in here, verify we are recorded. Maybe that's first. So once we've closed at the title company, then I'm going to verify we recorded. I'm going to make sure the buyers got their keys and their garage door openers. I'm going to send them their pizza. I'm going to send a thank you note to the referrer with cards for future referrals. And I'm going to do a thank you to the buyer. Hit save. Now, one thing I thought of, oh, and then if you want to see this one more time, add to long-term marketing. Once it's all funded, then I move them to the close, and I want to make sure I get all of these done before I close this file up. Send thank you note with referral cards, closing pick. Now, post closing pics on Facebook, but I never had on my checklist to take a Facebook picture. Maybe you want to do that. Maybe you want to, so I'm going to hit save. I'm going to jump back over, go back into my under contract, edit my stage, go back to my clear to close, to my checklist, and the final thing I'm going to add in is picture at closing. I'm going to make sure that's the last thing I do on this file before we're getting to funding. Because I'm not going to, most of the time as a buyer, we're going to go and sign the documents, but the funding happens later, so I'm not going to be there for funding. I want to do it at closing. So you can just go back in, and as you guys think of those things, you're just going to jump back in, and you're going to think of where was it that I was having that checklist, which stage and phase, and we go through and add it in and grab that. Now, any questions on checklists? Do I need to go back in and show you any checklists in any of the phases?
Will you show your closed one again? Sorry, I was trying to switch around my funding and my closed, and I got
Just the final total closed?
Yeah, just the closed right after the funding, that one.
Perfect. Edit stages. There's closed. Checklist is add to long-term smart plan, long-term marketing smart plan. Send a thank you note with referral cards. Post the closing pics to Facebook. Maybe you want to add the testimonial, you know, something like that. Calendar a 1 week and a 30-day follow-up. Oh, I just thought of one. Call and thank the listing agent. Give them listing agent and give MREA book. Because we want to look for every opportunity to grow our profit share. And if we had a great transaction, maybe you gift that listing agent an MREA book and say, hey, if you'd like to talk about Keller Williams, I'd love to tell you how it makes a difference for me. Or our amazing technology that got me all the way through and I didn't forget anything. Save. This is very strange. Mike Nelson, this must be what it's like to be on radio. You just talk to yourself and entertain yourself the entire time.
Kind of.
Yeah. No one's responding. You know, you just talk away.
Sorry, will you go back to funding? I only have 3. Sorry.
Yep. No, you're good. Verify we've recorded. Keys and garage door openers to the buyer. I send pizzas. You guys probably don't need to add that one. Send a thank you note to the referrer with cards and send a thank you to the buyer. Okay, anybody else have a checklist they need me to go over one more time? Because guys, we are gonna fly through the listing checklist. I feel like we got a groove, right? This is getting easy. We've set these all up. At this point, we should be able to do this lickety split. Last chance on buyers. Oh, wait. Who is it? Also, who is Nelson? Who said that one? Ask who is Moden. Oh, because they're taking roll. Who is Moden? M-O-D-E-N. Michael Oden. It's Michael Oden. I figured that out all by myself. And then Nelson. Who's Nelson? I think that is Dave Nelson's group. Is it Dave Nelson's group?
There's 2 separate ones for Nelson, so I don't know. We have the Nelson group on here, and then we have Nelson.
I'm going to, so FYI, Josie, in the chat, you can chat directly to one person instead of everyone.
I know, I've done it.
And Nelson is
already done it, and they're not responding, so.
Nelson, whoever you are. Okay, all right.
Thank you.
And you guys, when I say Nelson, it's because we can see your names on the screen, but all we see is that name. So there's phone numbers and names, and so, okay. All right, guys. Now I'm going to click back to back. We have just finished. Congratulations, Keller Williams, East Idaho. We have just completed your buyer's pipeline. You can start an opportunity today and work that opportunity all the way through closed inside of Command. What? That was unfulfilling. Okay, let's move to listings. I want you guys to click right here. So we're going to do the exact same thing, and we're going to move through our listings. Cultivate. We are starting with Cultivate. So someone has given us a lead. Oh, wait. Oh, before we go through, hold on. So let's go back to our test buyer. So our test buyer, let's assume we've moved them through all the way through, and we've got it all the way through to under contract. Now let's say I maybe didn't do as good of a job at keeping up in my Command as I should, even though I should be putting all my notes in and I'd have everything together. But let's just say I wasn't. And I was still sitting over here on contacted, but now we are under contract. You do not have to drag this through every single one, but you can grab it. And as you'll see at the top, the little lines go around your phases. I'm just going to move it up here. And when that little phase that I need to move to turns blue and they match, I drop it. When I drop that, I've moved now to under contract to the first stage, and there they are. And now I can move them through all the stages. Now, if I click on the checklist, you'll notice I can actually move through all the previous checklists. But what you'll notice is if I haven't gone through one section, that checklist isn't there because it may not understand it was in the negotiations. So if I need to go back into my active, if I've never hit active, it doesn't pick up my checklist. Just know that. If I moved it back and forth through actives, it doesn't pick up my checklist unless I hit into that stage. I don't have to move them through each section, but I need to drop it in each stage, and that's how it picks up the checklists. So I'm gonna move my test buyer back into under contract. And if I look at the checklist, I could go back through and see which ones I have checked, which ones I didn't. Okay? And we move them all the way through again, all the way to closing. So that's how you move this guy through. Anybody have any questions before I leave buyers? We're ready to hit sellers listings? Okay, we're doing it. Oh, whoa, there we go. Sorry, my screen just blacked out. Hello. Hold on, I'm having a technical difficulty, guys. Oh, no. What is happening? Hold on. Hold on. My screen is just all blinked off. Is everybody still there?
I can see you.
Oh.
I'm still here.
I'm still here. I'm frozen. Give me a second. My computer's realigning its brain.
Yes.
Now it is like we're on the radio. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna stop the share maybe? What in the world? All of a sudden I'm having a little computer freak out. All my screens are blinking. Hold on. Entering power save mode. What? Entered power save mode, guys. Hold on. Let me just push all my cords back in. Okay, we're back. I'm back. Am I back? No, I'm not back.
Your shared screen's gone.
I know. It's my big, giant, fancy screen keeps shutting on and off. I'm gonna, hold on. I'm gonna power down just a second. We'll keep going over here. Maybe. Okay. All right, can you, let's see. Ooh, hello. Let me see what I've got. So you guys can't see my shared screen. So let me reshare as I start my screen back up. I'm gonna reshare my screen. No, I'm not. Sorry, guys. Only when you're teaching a class. Only when you're teaching a class does this happen.
Should we call like a 5-minute potty break or something?
Oh, how about a 3-minute potty break?
3 minutes, okay.
3-minute potty break while you gather your checklist. Thanks. That's a good idea, Josie. A 2-hour class does need a potty break. Watch me struggle to put my computer back together. What in the world? HDMI. Are you upside down? HDMI. Okay. What's happening here? Put that back together. Oh, now we're cooking with gas. Okay, we made it. It's so weird. Now we're on a break and it's just really quiet. Josie, are you seeing those chats? The Nelson from the Nelson group?
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Okay, perfect. I'm not watching those then.
So there's one called the Nelson group and there's another one that just says Nelson.
Oh.
So that's why I was confused.
Maybe it's Willie.
You don't have video, you're just the still screen now.
Hold on, I gotta restart my video.
Okay. Hey.
Hey. By the way, while we're on a break and we're on a tangent, I have my selfie light. So can I do videos? Look at that. But now, look at that.
Wow.
Look at that.
Off.
Look at that.
On.
Oh, and I can do this. Or this. Or this. Or this. How does that look?
Wow.
Does it have one of those cool ring lights that reflects in your eyes?
It's my ring light. Can you guys see the rings in my eyes like them from the book The Host? Let's see. I think this is the one but I can turn them down. I can turn the light down or up. Here we go.
Yeah, those are cool.
Mm-hmm. Tell me when our 2 minutes is up.
I didn't set a timer.
All right. 1 minute. 1 minute, people.
60 seconds, folks.
60 seconds. Mike, that's when you kick in the Jeopardy sign. Where was that? I mean, the Jeopardy
sign. Bum, 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 bum.
Man, come on.
I'm back now, so we can start.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. Becky's back. We're ready. My favorite thing about Zoom, the conference, is that when someone talks, I see which one is talking. The little thing lights up, and that's really fun for me.
The speaker view?
Yeah. Well, no, because it has the all of the people on a big screen. I have all these squares with their names.
Gallery view.
And yeah, then when someone says something, their little square lights up.
True.
I love that. Okay. Oh, no. Can you see it?
Got it. Yep.
No, because I just shared it and now I can't do anything. Is it the share screen that my issue is? What in the friggity frack? What is happening? It's my share screen that's blowing this thing up. What in the heck? I mean, I'm overheating my. All right. Weird. Weird, weird. I hope this works, you guys. I hope I'm not going to freeze up before this class is over.
I'm going to need a full refund if that happens.
I think that's probably true. You get what you pay for around here. And this was free. All right, we're ready to go. Ready to go.
Right on cue.
Ah, fantastic. All right, here we go. Everybody see my screen? And we're off. We are going to go into listings. So everyone should be at their pipeline. So we get to that through clicking right here on opportunities. Right in opportunities. And we're going to start on listings. So we're going to start on cultivate. So I'm going to move pretty quick. So if you need something, just pipe up. So we're starting in cultivate. Everybody click on cultivate. Click in the upper right on edit stages. This is when we receive a lead on a listing. Receive a lead on a listing. So our first should be initiate contact. Initiate contact. It will be similar to the last initiate contact, and the checklist will be call, text, and then I would say at least add call refer for more information. If you've called and you've texted and you've emailed, call refer for more info. Okay, hit save. Next, on your watch, I'm going to call it connected. I'm going to call it connected. So if you want to change it, you go over here to the edit, and you're going to change watch to connected. I assume that's about a 10% probability of closing. Then we're going to click on the checklist right here in the middle. This one will be long. The first one, and this is on a listing. The first one is calendar a follow-up call. So we've connected, but I don't have an appointment, so I'm going to calendar a follow-up call. I have mail a thank you card. I'm going to take that out because I know I'm not going to mail a thank you card, but you may want to. Text them the mobile app. Number 3, start them on a smart plan 8x8 for sellers. Remember, we are in the connected stage. We already initiated contact. This is when we've actually talked to them. I'm going to friend them on Facebook. You may want to leave that out. I'm going to look up their property profile in RPR. Now, you may want to pull a full property profile, but I'm going to wait until a little later to do that. But I'm going to look up their property in RPR. Maybe you're going to do an initial CMA so that I'm ready for the next conversation. And I'm going to set them up on listing alerts for comparables to their property. So if I know a little bit about their property, but they're not ready for an appointment, I want them starting to get something from me. And it's going to be comparables similar to their property. So calendar a follow-up call. Send them your mobile app. Start them on a smart plan, 8x8 for sellers. Friend them on Facebook. Property profile or RPR. do an initial CMA, and set up listing alert for comparables. Give you a second, and we're moving to the next one.
I've been frantically scribbling notes this whole time, and then I just realized I could take screenshots. So I'm an idiot.
Nice job. Nice job. And I believe Josie's also gonna, Josie or Brittany, we're gonna have these screenshots as well, I think, to hand out. Okay, hit save. Okay, now we've initiated contact. We've connected. Now we're in the nurture because they have not said yes to an appointment yet. So now we're nurturing. In the nurture, my checklist is send a neighborhood snap URL. I want everyone to add that in because that is a function that can happen inside of command in their contact. And even though you don't know what it is, add it in there. A neighborhood snap URL. Basically, you can put in their contact card, put what neighborhood they're in, and it'll send them a little URL that's for them, and it has all the information about their neighborhood. Text message them 2 weeks later. Somebody said drop in every 2 weeks. I'm going to remove that. That's a little much for me. But someone said how they get their deals done is they go face-to-face. So they drop in. And every 2 weeks, I'm going to send a Facebook message. Until I have a listing appointment, I'm an every 2 week contact gal. Some of you might be every single week, whatever you think. This is where you would add also if there's something else that you do when you're nurturing from you had the conversation, but they did not say yes to the appointment. But they did not say no. Okay, hit save. Everybody got that? Neighborhood snap URL, text message 2 weeks later, Facebook message 2 weeks later. Maybe you want to put email in there. Maybe you want to make a phone call. I guess if I was a better person, I'd actually make a phone call. Save. Nurture. So that's nurture. Next is, okay, they're either going to say yes to an appointment or they're going to say not now. So I want you to change the hot to yes or whatever you want to do it, or you can leave it as hot. That's the yes to an appointment. So once they say yes to the appointment, I am going to add to the calendar, add the appointment to the calendar, and invite the seller to the appointment on the calendar. I'm going to update the CMA because now I'm preparing for the appointment. I'm going to email out the pre-listing packet. You might just say drop off the pre-listing packet or create the pre-listing packet, or or maybe don't do a pre-listing packet. But you're going to create the listing presentation and you're going to prepare the listing docs. Because when we go on a listing appointment, we take our listing docs with the intention we're signing them. Add to calendar, invite the seller, update your CMA, pre-listing packet, create your listing presentation, prepare your listing docs. Hit save. Now, if they say no or not now, I want you guys to add the not now. So go in the upper right, create the stage. I think you can get more than 0%. I think that moves them to a 1% possibility they're going to list with you. Now, if you listen to Tony Giordano and Tim Heil, the key is the follow-up. They may say not now, but the follow-up is who gets that deal done when they're ready. If they say not now, I'm going to add them to a smart plan for 36 touches. I'm then going to add them to the birthday smart plan so they get a happy birthday from me. And I'm going to calendar a follow-up in 6 months. You may follow up in 3 months. You may follow up in 1. Now, I put calendar 6 months, but in this specific opportunity, if they said, you know what, check back with me in 3 months, I could go modify this checklist item inside this specific opportunity to follow up in a month and a half. So no, you can add that. I either add one and delete it, or I can just modify it inside of the specific opportunity if I know I want to follow up at a different time besides 6 months. Hit save. Okay, you guys. Anybody need to see any of those checklists again? Because now we've cultivated our lead and we are moving to appointment.
Pull up that
We are
not
ready.
now again.
What was that?
Will you pull up the not now one more time?
Yep, not now. I added them to the Smart Plan 36 Touch, added them to the Birthday Smart Plan, and I calendared the follow-up. Anybody else have another checklist they need to see before we move on to appointment? Okay, on the upper left, I'm going to click on this Cultivate. We've moved out of Cultivate and we're moving to Appointment. I'm into Appointment. Upper right, edit the stages. First thing I always do is I add that rescheduled. So sometimes they reschedule the appointment before they keep it. So you'd add the stage, add in the rescheduled. If they reschedule, the checklist I used is calendar the new appointment and invite the seller. And I send a reminder text 1 day before. Because if we had to reschedule once, they might be the kind that needs a little reminder. Calendar new appointment, invite the seller. Send reminder text 1 day before. And maybe all you have in yours is calendar the new appointment and invite the seller. That's okay. Okay, save. Next is if they've kept the appointment. They've kept the appointment. The checklist is I send a thank you note. Now I may add right here, friend on Facebook. Or maybe you're a LinkedIn person, or maybe you're a Instagrammer or a Pinterester or whatever it is, something. Maybe you send a thank you text. I'm going to change that. Send a thank you text. I'm going to put video message. I like that. Send a thank you video message. Learned that from KW Video. People love that. Hit save. They've kept the appointment. Now, what are the things that can happen? Number one, they had the appointment. They're not ready to make a decision. You got to nurture them. They didn't say yes. They didn't say no. They're like, I got to think about it. Maybe they're interviewing other agents. Now we got to nurture that. So I called that post-appointment nurture. Post-appointment nurture. I wonder if I can make this bigger for you guys. Does that help? I didn't realize that was so little. Post-appointment nurture. I have 3 things that I do for that one. I schedule the next contact on the calendar. When am I going to call them next or contact them next? I set a listing alert for their next purchase. If I know that they're going to purchase. Now, I've gone on an appointment. I've gone on a listing appointment, and hopefully at that point, I've discovered their motivation and where they're going next. Well, if they're staying local, and I know they want to upgrade or downgrade or move to a Thunder Ridge school district, I'm going to send them up on listing alerts for the purchase of their next home because I got to get them to move along into getting ready to list. And then maybe I just need to address a custom need. What can I do to help them? Maybe they say, I'm not ready, man, I got to get my house in better repair. I've got to address whatever their need is. Maybe they don't know whether or not they can sell because it's an estate. What do I do to address their custom need? So that's schedule the next contact, put them on a listing alert for the next purchase, address their custom need. What can I do to help? Anybody else have any suggestions? What do you do if you've met with a listing and they didn't say yes, they didn't say no, and you got to nurture them? Is there anything else you do to help them move along? Throw me some ideas. Nothing. Everybody gone to sleep. All right, we're moving along. I think I've lost half the people. During break, Josie. It was during the break, Jose. Okay.
You still have 28, and it was
That's a good point.
computer.
I was 2 pages and I'm now down to 1. Okay. A post-appointment nurture. So we've got that in. Next is they're going to say yes or they're going to say not now, right? So we've signed the listing agreement. If we've signed the listing agreement, this is what I do. I schedule the open house. When are we going to do the open house? I provide them the staging tips handout. I schedule the staging. I schedule when we're going to do the pictures. I get a lockbox. I create the partial listing in the MLS. And Mike Johnson, submit my paperwork to compliance. Add that in there for Mike Johnson. I think he's even left me at this point. Okay. Here we go. Schedule open house if you do them. I do provide the staging tips handout. I schedule the staging, schedule the pictures, get a lockbox, create the partial listing in the MLS, and submit my paperwork to compliance. Minimum I want you guys to do is have the pictures, get the lockbox, put it in the MLS, and submit the paperwork for compliance. Give you a little second here. Okay, onward. Anybody have any questions? Okay, save. So we've signed the listing agreement. The next thing that I do is they move into what I call the coming soon phase. Because when I sign a list agreement, I do a coming soon section before we go active in the MLS. So I move them into coming soon. My coming soon is, do I have the pictures back? I create a flyer and send that out to the agents. I put a sign in the yard with a coming soon rider. I notify potential buyers from my pipeline that there's a new listing coming out. I call any agents with buyers in the price range that I know of, and I create my Facebook ad. And this is my coming soon checklist. Now, the one thing I notice I don't have in here, another stage, is I have a, they said no, they picked another agent. So we'll do that next. Everybody got that? Pictures, create a flyer.
Wait, wait up for one more second.
Hanging on. Now, this might all go in your signed a listing agreement or won the agreement. You might have this all in, or maybe you move this to the first stage of active when they have an active listing. It's up to you where you want to put those. Do they get to move to active if these have been, and you want to do this when that happens, or do you have to do this before you make it active? So for me, I know I'm not going to make it active in the MLS until I've completed all of these. Everybody got it? Okay, hit save. The one thing I've noticed that we're missing on this, save. There we go. What if I didn't win the listing agreement? What if that didn't happen? I need a new stage, and this stage means picked another agent. I didn't have that in there because that's never happened to me. Just kidding. That's just kidding. Okay. Dave Nelson said, oh, yeah? Right, Dave? I heard you. Okay. Picked another agent. Probability of me getting that commission is probably 0, maybe 1. I'm going to give it a 1%. Position 6. Maybe I'm going to send a thank you text. No, video message. I'm going to send a thank you video message. I'm going to add them to 36 Touch Smart Plan. I'm going to follow up in 6 months. Or actually, you might even, maybe it's 2 months. Make sure they're still listed if they didn't sell. Something like that. Follow up in 2 months. Oh, this isn't even a follow-up. I need to calendar that. Calendar, follow-up in 2 months. Okay, so that might be if they picked another agent. Save. So there we go. So in this, when I move through these, I may skip this altogether because that didn't happen. It went into agreement. Okay, appointment, done. So we've made it through the appointment, which means they are active. So click on active. We are in showing. Is this what you guys have? Showing and negotiations? In your screen, are you guys showing in negotiation?
Mine says Supra information too.
Supra. Someone's been in your system getting some stuff going. Love it. So so in that, that's a really good idea. If we've gone active in the appointment, this might be, you might have in here another stage of pre-listing or pre-active. So if you went back in here and said, okay, after this signed a listing agreement, maybe once that's signed, maybe this is something that happens, but maybe you've got to add it in Supra. Maybe you've got to, there might be way more right here before it goes active to put into that. Okay, I'm going to go back out. We're going to under contract. Nope, I'm going to go to active. Edit stages. So I encourage you to have at least showing and negotiations. Showing and negotiations. So first showing, my checklist is set up feedback in ProAgent. So we use the ProAgent system. Maybe you use the feedback system in Supra. I'm going to change that because it should be more generic. In Supra. Go in and set up your Supra to give your feedback, to send out auto feedbacks. Enter all the details in Supra. So I hate that I forget that. I hate that I forget to go in and put all the, the address information in and put a picture of the stuff and make sure that the seller gets any feedback things. I want to make sure I get that done. I want to do a weekly feedback huddle with the seller. So this is in the showing phase. So we are active. We are doing showings. I want a weekly feedback huddle with the seller. And then I also want a weekly pricing strategy with the seller. Every week, I should be reviewing feedback and reviewing the pricing. Anything else you guys do during the showing time? Give us some other ideas. What else might you be doing with the seller during the time before we have an offer? Any other ideas? Nothing. Okay. So on this, hit save. Now you guys may want to do your open house right in here and do that as the first stage. You might say I do an open house afterwards. You could throw that in here if you wanted to. I do my open houses before we get into the active. So from here, okay, will do. You guys, so in negotiation, let's get through this and let's get the end. So we want to have a little bit of time to look at the documents. I'm glad you remind me of that. So negotiations should be your second. When we get into negotiations, when we get an offer, when I get an offer, I notify all agents who have shown the property that we have an offer. I create net sheet comparisons on the offers, and we decide if we're going to counter offer. Everybody got that? Notify all agents we have that have shown the property, create a net sheet, and are we counter offering? Okay, save. So at that point, once we've counter offered in negotiation, we move out of active to under contract. Now we go through the same thing. So click edit stages. So the first thing is once we're under contract, we have setup file. Now you may have a setup file in your stage. Maybe that's in the active. Maybe it's in the active section. You could do that. So on mine, setup file is my first one that I do when we are under contract. I pinned the listing in MLS. I enter the details of this into command. I want everyone to put this in there because this will be new for all of you. And we probably should have that actually in the buyer when we go under contract. That reminds me. I need to add that to the buyer pipeline. So you guys note that when we go under contract, you need to go back and add that in as a checklist item for enter the details into command. Details we have to enter in all the things. What's the price? What's the commission? All of those things will happen in command. When you are in command for an offer, you will put the multiple offers in and you'll decide which one you accept. I'm actually gonna go back to that in the negotiations. Whoops, I went too far. Right here, active. In negotiations, edit stages. Whoops. Click here, add item, enter counter offers in command. There is a section in command that you enter all your offers, and then you'll say which one you accept, and that details of that offer actually populate into your commissions, which is used to be your DA stuff. It just auto-populates over. So you'll enter all your offers in command, and you will accept offer in command. Those will all happen in command. Okay, I'm going to go back out. Under contract, edit stages. Okay, set up file. Penned listing, enter details into command, send the contract to title. Get loan officer details from the buyer's agent. You might, you want to know who that is. Get the pre-approval letter from the loan officer. Send a reminder email with all of the dates to the seller. When are our dates, our contract dates? That also probably would be a great one for the buyer. Do they have all of their dates in an email when they know everything has to happen? Remind to turn in earnest money. So I want to make sure, I think I'm going to even just say verify earnest money turned in. Verify earnest money turned in. Create a just listed flyer for the agents and begin the under contract smart plan. Now, if you don't want to create the smart plan for the under contract for your seller, you may want to put those items in your checklist. Begin the under contract smart plan for the seller. Everybody got this? We're gonna have to move quick because we just got a little bit of time left. Inspections. During inspections, here's your checklist. You're gonna calendar the inspection. You're gonna remind the seller that they do not attend the inspection. You're gonna follow up with the buyer's agent, and we're gonna negotiate the RE10. So you might follow up with the buyer's agent initially too. When is inspection? Verify when the inspection is, and go through this. So calendar the inspection, remind the seller they do not attend, follow up with the buyer's agent, negotiate RE10. Okay, now we're on to appraisal. Checklist. Notify the seller of the date of the inspection. Contact the loan officer on the due date. Calendar a follow-up for the receipt of the appraisal. So follow up when that appraisal was supposed to be back. And were there any lender required repairs? Notify seller of the date. Find out the due date from the loan officer. Calendar a follow-up for the receipt of the appraisal. And were there any lender required repairs? Hit save. Financing section. I'm going to change this because this is final underwriting. Well, I'm not going to change it final because this is the seller, so we may not know. Financing. My checklist. Check on final underwriting. Have they gotten the title commitment, the final title commitment? Is the CD sent out, the closing disclosure? What is the estimated, when is the estimated date for the docs to title? All on the financing. Check on final underwriting, title commitment, CD, docs to title, or estimated date for docs to title. And last one, clear to close. Review the settlement statement, set up closing date and time. I probably want, on a seller, I actually would probably be doing that before the settlement statement. Check on the final walkthrough closing date and time. Send a reminder about canceling the utilities to the seller. Order a closing gift if that's what you do. We do a welcome to the new home survey. And get the keys to the title company for the buyer. I'm going to put in here, remind seller to leave extra keys and garage door openers. On the counter. Okay? Set up closing date and time, review the settlement statement, and I have put in here compare to the initial net sheet. I always do that. Check on final walkthrough, reminder about canceling all utilities, closing gift, survey, keys to title for buyer, and remind seller to leave extra keys and garage door openers on counter. That's all clear to close. Loving that. Now we're moved out of contract and we're moved into closed. I'm going to go up here to edit stages. I'm going to add in that stage that I added before for funding. Probability is about 99%. And this is going to be position 1. So for funding, verify wire is received at title. I'm going to verify buyer signed, maybe, and pick up. What else would happen at funding? Probably all that I need. Okay, so verify wire was received at the title, verify the buyer signed. Then we are closed. So at closed, my checklist, pick up lockbox and sign. Close the listing in the MLS. Schedule a follow-up 30 days out. Call the home warranty rep and notify them that we've closed if you provided a home warranty to the buyer. Set them up on long-term marketing or your 36-touch smart plan. Post a picture in closing on Facebook. Send out a please review us email. So you might want to add that to the buyer as well. Ask them for an online review. So put up lockbox and sign, or pick up lockbox and sign. Close the listing in the MLS. Schedule a follow-up 30 days out. Call the home warranty rep. Notify of closing. Set up the long-term marketing smart plan. I'm going to put that smart plan right there. I'm going to put start. 36 touch smart plan. Post the picture on Facebook and send out a please review us email. And save. And the last thing is your post-closing marketing, if that's what you want to do, is maybe ask for reviews. So they may say, hey, this is what we do at closing, but maybe you want to do the post-closing marketing. Maybe you could add the pictures here. You could do something if you wanted to break those two up, or add everything into your final closed checklist. I just wanted to show that there's a whole section of the post-marketing that you could do. That is it, you guys. That is it for this. Now, Josie wanted to mention that I'm going to show you guys how to do just a little quick preview of how we put the documents in for compliance. But you guys should now at this point have all of your checklists, for opportunities to run a listing or a buyer completely set up. And if you'll go through and enter those opportunities and fill that out, you will actually see your potential income and your probable income over here. Potential means you've entered in what it's going to be. Probable is based on your percentages that you entered in as each stage. Okay, so just last thing I want to look at, if we're looking at documents. So I'm going to go into one of the opportunities. Let's say test. Once you create an opportunity, right here in this document section. So this is inside an opportunity. So this is not inside a contact. You've created an opportunity, and now you have documents to supply. So normally we would be uploading them to .loop. We'll be moving to adding them here. You'll do all your contracts in Form Simplicity or in Instanet if that's what you use. You get them all signed and completed. And then once your signatures are there, you're going to set and go into your documents. And inside of documents, you're going to have a checklist of what Mike wants us to have submitted for documents for compliance. So you notice we are in a listing. So we know this is a listing opportunity. Here you will see the contacts up here. If this is a listing, you also would have selected from KWLS. It'll show you your listings in KWLS, and so you can attach those in there. That also helps with marketing stuff. So from here, you'll see who it is, all the documents that you're going to need. Miscellaneous, there's going to be lead-based paint, Exhibit A, MLS sheet, the property disclosure, the seller's rep. All you do is go over here on the right. You're going to add a file. You're going to browse from wherever you've saved them in your Dropbox or on your computer. And you're going to upload. Notice it says upload it and assign the documents one at a time. You will not be setting them in one big stack. So you don't send them all and upload them all in one big stack. You're going to separate them out and upload them one by one. So obviously you're just going to browse. Let's see if I've got a showing feedback report. Let's look at that. Showing feedback report, I assign it. And it went into the miscellaneous. Showing feedback report, it's uploaded. There you go. What type is this? Let me see here. I'm going to remove, print, authorization. I don't know what that is. So that automatically, anyway, I don't think I can change the, what is this called? So that's interesting. I'll have to look at that. But what you're going to do is you're going to go through and you're going to complete and you're going to submit all of your documents right in here. And then you're going to hit Submit to Market Center. That's what you do. So as you put that in there, now what you'll do is you'll have different folders over here on the left. So you may have a new folder that will be your offers. So when you have offers, you'll have your listing documents. You'll have your there's under contract. Here's your closed documents. You can add a folder for say your like your title commitment. You can store all your documents in here. If you wanted the home inspection in there, but you're going to go here, listed documents. So here's your listing documents. Here are your under contracts. Here are all your offers. Here's your closed documents. There's your settlement statements. And then here's any custom folders you would want to have. So it's basically the repository. Last thing I want to show you guys is on a listing, when you get an offer, you would come into your offers section and you would add a new offer, which means you're going to generate, let's say this is an offer from John Johnson offer. So I create the offer. When's the offer date? When is the closing date? So let's say the offer date was today. We're expected the closing date to be September 30th. Who's involved in it? You'd add the buyer. There's the seller's information is already in there. Are they pre-qualified? Here are the representation, the agents. Here you are. We'll go to the terms. Oh, this is going to be associate is John Johnson. Do you have any other? This is Betty Buyer. And her email, if you had any of that information. Terms. Is it cash plus financing? So let's say the sales price, let's say they're putting down payment of $15,000. They're financing $100,000. So the purchase price would be $115,000. Their earnest money is going to be $1,000. There's no option fee. We don't really do that here. We have 7 days to terminate the contract in the inspection period. The seller is going to contribute $3,000. Oh wait, that should have been in, this is for the home warranty. And then $3,000 to closing costs, agent analysis. You would tell them the pros and the cons. Pro is solid offer, full price. Cons, closing costs, and very, let's say, out-of-town lender. Summary, I think we should take this. You should consider this one. Who else would want this stinky house? Just kidding, that's not what you're gonna say. So what will happen is if you guys remember back in the Technology Roadshow, when you create an offer like this and you hit save, when the consumer app is out, they will get notified through the app that there is an offer. It will show them the basics of the offer. It will give you your pros and cons and give your recommendations, and they can accept or reject it. You can add in.
Okay. Sorry, what about the part about the stinky house? Will they see that?
Yep, because that was my details. I was telling that to them. Here are the pros, here are the cons, and here's what I want to tell you about it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I probably shouldn't have put that because you wouldn't normally have said that to a seller. We're lucky that anybody's going to buy this stinky house. Just kidding. Okay. From here, if you have multiple offers, you could select them and create offers and send that all to them. Then once it's done, once you've got an offer and you're accepting and you click accept, you'll reject all the offers you're rejecting and you accept. You'll notice right here, I cannot click on this commissions section. Once I hit accept, this commissions is now active, and I can go through, and this is where I'm going to fill out how much I'm expecting to get on my commission. This is the new request to pay. How am I expecting to get on my commission? Do I have any referral fees? Am I going to pay out anyone? And this will be live time. You'll see, do I have any more cap that I owe? Do I have any more company dollar and royalty that I owe? Do I want to give to KW Cares? Do I want to add another item like a deduction, like a transaction coordinator or a concession or a bonus? Do I have another agent? But you'll notice it says I can't add another agent because the total payment amount has been distributed. Because it says the commission's $34.50 and I'm giving myself $34.50. So I'm going to say, well, I'm going to give Amy Kerwin as my transaction coordinator and she charges $300. So I'm only going to give myself $31.50. It's going to update over here. It says we're missing some money. I'm going to go down. I'm going to add somebody else. Let's say Josie Bollier. Oh, Whalen. I'm going to give Josie Whalen, because it searches all of the agents inside Keller Williams. I'm going to give Josie Whalen $300. And it says, wait a minute. Oh, now I'm good to go. And I'm going to give Josie that $300. And I'm going to see right here, over here, who am I paying and what's happening. So you will complete all of this if you have a referral fee. If you're going to pay another agent up here, you can add a co-broker if you need to. But you're going to need to do that, reduce your commission, so that you have some money to give. And then once you're all done with all of this, you're going to submit that to the Market Center to get a DA. And once the DA happens, it just happens automatically in the system. And you will control whether it's right or wrong. So if you need to make adjustments, you'll go back in and make these adjustments and submit it one more time. Pretty easy, huh? Any questions? We'll enter our documents here. This is where we'll find and enter our documents. We will register all offers. We will accept one of the offers. We will move to commissions and complete our commission sheet, which is our request to pay. We'll submit that to the office and we will receive our DA or our commission check.
So I have a question. So what if we're getting paid to our LLC and not us? How do we set that up to where it's not paying us as an agent in this?
You would set that up just with the office. That
Okay.
means that when they do this, they would change this in the office system to show your LLC.
Okay, awesome.
Yep, good question. Anybody else? Questions? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Pretty awesome, huh? Basically, the control goes back to you. You guys will get to control your commission sheets, your all those kind of things. It'll all be you.
Hey, Jessica, it's Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Hey, I just had a question because I was kind of working on my own stuff when you were showing us. Where is this screen in opportunities where you put in your offers?
Oh, in the opportunity, good question. It's right here in this. So if you're in the opportunities, this is what it looks like. Here's my opportunity. Everything looks great. If it's a listing, this doesn't work with buyers. If it's a listing, you go right here to offers.
Okay, because you're gonna have that listing in there. Okay, I
Yep,
get it.
because the listing would have already started as an
I don't
opportunity.
think I can find any of those. Okay.
Yep, it'll be right there. Now, someone asked me the other day, I think we were looking at it and we're saying, well, what if I'm making multiple offers and we're going back and forth on a counter offer? Counter offer to counter offer. There's no place that tracks all the counter offers other than putting the in the documents.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Thank you so much.
So you wouldn't enter any offers in for buyers.
Okay.
Well, that's a lie. You'd enter your final offer because that's how the commissions come out.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Ask away. Oh, it says, what is your submission? Why is your submission? Because we are not submitting through this. Command is not active. This is Sony Desktop. At Sony Desktop, the reason why the submit button is not available on the commissions tab is because the office is not accepting like this yet. We haven't moved to being this is active. This starts, I believe, Josie, September 18th. Am I right?
I think it's September 16th. Hold on.
September 16th?
Yes.
Once the office moves completely and we're no longer doing dot loop and those things, all of this functionality will start. Good question. Thank you, at Sony Desktop. Anybody else? As you guys can see, I'm pretty excited about this. We are already working in this and doing these things, so it's fun. Okay, if that's it, I'm 14 minutes over because I yammered too long before I got to documents because I forgot, Josie. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Jessica. It's awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Take
Thank you, Jessica.
Kevin used to say, stay on the edge of real estate. Take command of your business. Oh, I think I can end the meeting. I'm just yammering on at this point.
Hey, Jessica, I have a question. So with the screenshots, when are you going to be uploading this? Because I missed the first little bit. My husband was just taking notes because I didn't realize I'm still brand new. So I didn't realize I could be editing all this stuff until about like partway into the buyer side. And so
Yep, no, I think Josie, check with Josie.
Okay.
I think they have this available. We should probably just upload this to the intranet, maybe. But Josie, they'll put it out there. Maybe they'll do a blast email, but have it in the intranet or something. But
okay.
Yeah, because they have access. Josie and Brittany have access to all of those, to this demo account that has all of those checklists.
Okay, and you said we can start, because I'd rather just work in this than in like dot loop and some of the other older things. Because I'm brand new, I might as well just get into the new software stuff.
Yep.
And so
as of right now,
everything in here right now, or do I have to wait?
You can load everything in, but compliance is still being done through dot loop until